Well, hello there. This is Craig Haynes speaking. I am the founder and CEO of Triad Math Inc., and I want to talk to you on this video about what I consider to be a proper education for the 21st century, not just mathematics, but in general. And so I'll discuss this on this short video, and you can download a PDF of this script if you care to. Well, one of the first things you're going to learn is that I consider our current education system in the United States to be obsolete. It's what I call a second wave education. And the current second wave was coined by Alvin Toffler in his great book of that name. And I think we have to reform this. And I think we must replace our current education system by a much more effective, what I would call third wave system, which I'm going to describe. And I believe it's possible now with 21st century technologies to really do this when they're properly applied. Now, the first point that I'd like to make is I believe that with a proper education, that virtually any person can learn to earn a very good living in this day and age by the time she or he or it is age 25 plus or minus 7 years. So in other words, somewhere between ages 18 and 32, I believe virtually anyone in the United States and probably eventually in the world can earn a very good living if they're given a proper 21st century education. Now, those of you that are my students and have studied mathematics under me know that my students call me Dr. Dell, and I'm going to tell you it took me until age 28 to do this. And I didn't make very much money up until then, and I'm going to tell you how I did it. But by age 28, I was able to make a very, very good living doing something that I really love to do, and that was because I had obtained what was for me a proper education. Now, everyone is unique. I'm not suggesting that my education is the right one for you, but that there is a proper education for you. So just imagine that you can be living a great life, earning a great living by age 30, and this is true for just virtually everyone. Well, if what I'm saying is true, then it's obvious that our current education system, at least I'm talking now in the United States, is failing a very, very high percentage of our young people. Just look at the unemployment statistics, look at the frustration, just look at the situation today. I think it goes without saying. So, what's to be done about it? Well, the first thing I think that we have to realize is that every student today needs to learn to be what is called an autodidact. Now, you can look that up if you want to in Wikipedia, but an autodidact is a person that learns from their own initiatives from a wide variety of sources. But it's not someone that just goes into some class and follows some syllabus and gets told what to learn and the sequence to do it in. As a matter of fact, an autodidact will explore many different fields. And that's what you should do until you can find at least one, and usually more than one field, that you're passionate about, that you really like and you're really interested in. Now, something you need to understand and realize is that most students can learn the essentials of almost any field in about 3 months of intensive, immersive study in that field. Now, it might take longer. Maybe it'll take 6 months or 9 months or 12 months. But so what? If you're studying a field that you're enjoying, that you're interested and excited about, it's fun to study. But I find that usually in 3 months of intensive immersive study, you can get pretty knowledgeable about any field and know if you want to continue in it. And then if it's a field you really are interested in, I find that most students can just about master any field in 1 to 2 years of intensive immersive study. In the first 3 months, you're going to learn a lot about it and know if it's something you really want to pursue. And then if you do, you're going to go ahead and you're going to master it in a matter of usually 1 to 2 years. Now you might say, well, how do you do that? Well, here's what you need to do. You need to find a mentor, somebody in that field that you are interested in that you can apprentice with. So you choose a field you're really interested in. You study it on your own for a few months. And you say, I really like it. Find someone you can apprentice with. If necessary, go to work for nothing. Go work as an assistant, like an internship for free for a period of time. And I'll tell you what usually happens. After a couple of months, if you're really working hard and helping this person, they'll start paying you. And actually, they'll probably pay you a pretty reasonable amount of money while you're serving your apprenticeship. Now, I can tell you that I know this works for a fact because I've been around a long time, And I had an industrial trading business that I ran for over 2 decades, and I had 4 different people come to me this way. They said, I want to work for you. I've heard a lot about your company, and I didn't have a job opening for them. But they said, I just want to come to work. I'll work for nothing if need be, but I want to help you. And they were interested in different aspects of it. And I hired them. And in fact, because of labor laws, I actually paid a minimum wage to get started. In fact, one gal, I only had to pay half a minimum wage because the government had a program to subsidize half of it. But all 4 of these people became very successful. Just a matter of a few months, and I was paying them much more than the minimum wage when they started. And in fact, one of them went ahead and became the CEO of in fact, 2 of them at different points in time became the president of my company. And these were people that started at minimum wage or below minimum wage. They just wanted to work and learn, and they learned and they worked hard, and it was an immersive situation. And it took them a few years to get to that point, but they were very, very successful. And so that's what you really want to do. Now, what you're going to find out once you get good at a field, once you've achieved some level of mastery, and when I say mastery, I don't mean you're the very best person in the field. I just mean you're really pretty darn good at it. Then you're going to be able to earn a good living, either delivering some services that you're capable of or maybe teaching other people to do it. And what does that good living mean? Well, I think you'll find you can earn $50 an hour once you become pretty good, and maybe more. And what that means is, if you're single, for example, and not a family, you can work about 20 hours a week, and you'll be earning $50,000 a year, $1,000 a week. And most single people can live pretty good on that today. And if you do have a small family, and you live in a low-cost area, you can even support a small family on that. But the facts of the matter are, most people are going to be earning much, much more than that, ultimately, by either making more per hour as they get better and better and gain a following and customers, or by working more hours per week, or a combination of both of those. Well, indeed, if you're passionate about your field and you get really pretty good at it, then you're going to want to work more hours per week. Let's say you're going to want to work 50 hours a week. That's not uncommon for something you're passionate about. And you'll eventually earn more money than 50 an hour. You're probably earning $100 an hour. Well, if you're working 50 hours a week and $100 an hour, you're making $250,000 a year. And that puts you probably in the upper 10% today that they talk about. It takes time to do that. As a matter of fact, of all the 4 people I told you about, every one of them got to where they were making enough money and got so good at it that they went to other companies and earned even more money and did even better, which is great. That's what I wanted to do. Now, often it can be advantageous that you gain mastery in more than one field. Scott Adams talks a lot about that in his book on how to win big. And if these fields are synergistic, sometimes then they play off of each other. And that makes it possible then to gain even more value. As a matter of fact, Scott Adams recommends is that you master several fields. It'll take you years to do that, a few years to do it, and then they play them off of each other. As a matter of fact, if you start doing this when you're in your mid-teens, by the time you're in your mid-20s, you probably will have achieved a mastery of a half a dozen different fields, some of which are synergistic, and you'll be able to use them. Now, there's something we don't teach our students today that is critically important that everybody needs to understand, and that is learning any field, mastering any field. The learning follows an exponential curve. It is absolutely critical that you understand this. The result of that's going to be is that 80% of your knowledge that you're going to get and the skill you're going to get in a field is going to probably come in the last 20% of the time that you're learning the field. It's very counterintuitive, and it's going to probably help you if I show you this on a graph. Now, this is a graph of what I would call an exponential learning curve I made up for you. And over here, we double 1, 2, 4, 8 as we go up, and these are time periods. And this could be the quantity that you're learning. And let's say that the amount of skill you have to have is in the 4,000 level. So you start at 1, and then you do, and then 4, and then 8. Now, when you do that and plot that, on time 1 you're at 1, time 2 you're at 2, then here you're at 4, here you're at 8, here you're 16. Now these represent how much you've learned that you need to know. And so you're climbing the ladder here of learning, and you can sort of project out. Now this is called a log scale. This is a semi-log chart. Now let's look at the very same thing on a linear scale. This is the amount you need to learn to consider you've mastered it. This is half of what you need to know. and then this is half of that, and this is half of that, and this is half of that. And so we're going to take the very same data that was on a straight line here, and we're going to plot it on this linear scale. And what that means is you're here at 1, here you're 2, here's 4, here's 8, here's 16, here's 32. Well, my goodness, you've gone along all this time, you're into this 8 time periods, and you're only up to what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're only up to 128. You're only up to here in 8 time periods. You say, my golly, I'll never learn all this. It's going to take me forever. But remember, learning is exponential in nature. You continue learning, and you learn faster and faster, and here you finally achieve it. And you'll notice that 80% of what you've learned, this height from here up to here, 80% of that happened in the last 3 time periods. Now, this is something we don't teach our students today, but it's very counterintuitive. But it's true. It's how learning works. And that's what you should tell every student. You need to tell them they're going to be following a learning curve. And don't get discouraged. It's a very, very horrible misconception today that people don't understand this exponential growth. As a matter of fact, grades in school are horrible. Competition is horrible. Everybody learns to use what's called the spike pedagogy. This is how you should learn. It is self-paced. You're going to learn this in a self-paced manner, interactive, proper content, keeping score as you go, empathy and humor. Because you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to learn by doing, and you're going to make a ton of mistakes doing it. Now, this is true of mathematics, but it's true of all subjects. And this is true even if you're an autodidact. My goodness, when I was learning things for the first time, in the first 3 or 4 months, I seemed like all I did was make mistakes and beat my head against the wall. And like, I'm never going to get anywhere. I mean, when you're down here on the learning curve, when you're down here, you just feel like you're not getting anywhere. You're learning. You are learning. You're growing. You're increasing your learning. But here you go. You're 7, 8, 9 months into this thing, or however long it is, and you just feel like you're almost never going to get up to here. And it's really frustrating when you see somebody that's already further along, and they're up here, and you're down here, and they're up here, and you think, oh my goodness, I'll never get up there. I know that happened to me in mathematics. I would see people that were up here, really, really much, much better than I was. I was down here. But what happened was, then I could catch up to that. And then I get up to here. And pretty soon, I was above some other people that once below had been below me. So this is the exponential learning curve. And we don't teach people that today. And we really, really have to do that. Okay, the bottom line is, what I'm talking about here, you could call meta-education. We're talking about education. And these are the things that we need to teach our children about learning and what they're going to be faced with. In fact, our teachers need to understand it. Most teachers don't even know this. But this is a critical mandate if we're going to become a super great civilization. If we're going to have lots and lots and lots of people really succeeding, then our civilization will get better and better and better. Now, our current U.S. education system isn't doing this at all, as far as I can tell. In fact, it's just the opposite. With our grading systems and our competitions and all of that, a lot of people just get discouraged and quit. And on top of that, in our universities today, we run up big debt. It's amazing how little people sometimes learn for the amount of money they're investing. And they would be so much better off if they put that money into getting into an apprentice program, being an autodidact. We've got to teach our students today, our children, about exponential growth. We've got to teach them about this Pareto principle I'm telling you about, how you learn exponentially and more, about the parallel statistical distribution of many data sets. These are things we must teach. This applies to all fields. Now, it especially applies to mathematics. In fact, Triad Math has now developed and delivers multiple programs and products that remedy this situation and, in fact, revolutionize 21st century math education. And those of you that understand that know all about it. And in fact, if you want to learn more about that, you want to go to Triad Math, and I'd suggest you start out by learning about the supercomputer, which just absolutely revolutionizes the things today that you can do. Supercomputer.org, and you'll learn all about it. This is a wonderful, wonderful way to not only learn mathematics, but many, many other subjects as well. In fact, there are literally hundreds of subjects you can learn using a teaching aid like the supercomputer in all sorts of fields. But you'll have to go study that to understand that. And you can see it in action. You can watch it in action. And as a matter of fact, if you really want to learn more about the supercomputer, go to supercomputer.org partner-tools, and you'll learn all about. You'll see it demonstrated. You're going to learn what the supercomputer can do for you and see how it's demonstrated. As a matter of fact, the supercomputer today is going to be the way that you can really learn these things quickly in many fields, and I can't more highly recommend it enough to you. So this is Craig Hain. I wanted to talk about this meta education and this thing we should be doing, that you should be doing as a student, or if you are a parent or a teacher, this is what you need to be teaching your child. So I hope this helps. I hope this has opened up some ideas for you. And if you pursue the things I'm recommending, I'm confident you're going to have a very successful life. Have a great life. Bye-bye.